Sticking with education, more students across the country returning to school this week, and that's highlighting a growing crisis with teachers. There are simply not enough of them right now. Government figures show that about 300,000 teachers left the education workforce, left the profession since February 2020. That would be when the COVID pandemic began. And in states like Mississippi, Florida, and Nevada, they've been hit especially hard by these shortages. Columbus, Ohio, meanwhile, the state's biggest school district there, is opening the year this morning with the teachers on strike. You see the pictures there. Elise Preston has made her way to East High School. That's in Columbus. Elise, good morning. Why is this happening there now?
Tony, good morning to you. The school board and teachers union have been negotiating for months without success. This ongoing strike means no one will be in class here today. Students will begin the school year online, with many taught by substitutes. Teachers in Columbus have been on strike since Monday, after the vast majority of the union's roughly 4,500 members voted to reject the latest contract offer from the city's Board of Education. It marked yet another failed negotiation. After 22 meetings since March, the union claims Columbus schools are in a state of disrepair, from missing ceiling tiles to lead paint to water leaks.
We will continue fighting until we have safe, properly maintained, and fully resourced schools in every neighborhood.
The school board says it's committed to addressing those issues, but insists they can only be solved with more taxpayer dollars, not a contract with teachers.
What goes in the contract doesn't actually solve that problem.
As the unresolved negotiations force a virtual start to the school year, the teachers union is calling on families to honor the picket line by boycotting remote class.
We're starting off how we did with COVID.
The conflict has put students like 16-year-old Inaya Broom, a senior at Eastmore Academy High School, in a tough position. She told us she'd rather be in person, but supports the strike.
We started off school with no air, no heat. It's embarrassing compared to these other school districts. Our school has been the same for like 50 years.
You're laughing.
Because my grandma went to the school and she said the same thing. Like, why does it look exactly the same?
Her mother agrees, but worries about how the disruption and more remote class could take a toll on some students.
I stand by the teachers, but this being the beginning of the school year, I think was just terrible for the kids.
And you can hear a lot of supporters honking for this ongoing strike. As it continues, the district has set up 25 running signs for students to pick up free meals. Meanwhile, the teachers union and school board head back to the bargaining table this afternoon. Nate?
Let's give the teachers what they want and what they need. Elise, thank you.
The U.S. is preparing to send another $3 billion with a B dollars in military aid to Ukraine as that country marks 6 months. They call it an anniversary of the Russian invasion of that country. It's also Ukraine's Independence Day right now, and they are.
All right, I ran those two videos together to show the disparity in government spending. Now, look where the emphasis is. With the schools, and that's just that one school, but in Columbus, Ohio, but the same can be said about schools all over America. The teachers are underpaid. Many of the schools need repair, and the teachers are forced to go on strike, and so on, just to get more funding. But yet, we can send, I think, what was it, $3-4 billion, and like you said, billion with a B. We could send billions of dollars overseas for a war that we're not in, but yet they say it's for our importance. But yet they have the money readily available to send over there. But yet, why can't we do this for our kids? Why can't we do this for our kids? Why can't the teachers' pay be more than what it is now? Come on now. Next video. Okay, I call these pictures the saga of Dwayne Wade. Now, the first one, you see he's about to approach his wife, Gabrielle Union's butt. Now, apparently, they were on a trip, vacation, and they posted those two pictures on Instagram. Now, once you do that, okay, it's for public consumption, right? Okay. Now, what a husband and wife does in their bedroom is their own business. But when you put it out there for the public to see, then you put yourself up for speculation or ridicule or praise. Okay, some people actually praise that. I'm not on the side of praising them for this, because what it's shown me is that Dwayne, much like Will Smith and Jada, or I should say much like Will, he has denigrated himself, and he has shown himself to be the follower in that relationship between husband and wife. And, I read the background on both of them. Both of them were brought up in a Christian upbringing. And somewhere along the way that went south. Once they met these two women, I'm talking about Gabrielle and Jada. It's like they have taken them, their wives have taken them on a course of being altered, okay? They've taken them on a different course from where they should be. And I'm really disappointed. I'm disappointed in them. I'm disappointed in the way they have conducted themselves as men. And it seems like we're getting revelations of more and more of how they are. Again, you put yourselves out there like that, therefore you get the speculation, ridicule, or praise. And it seems like Gabrielle is the one who wears the pants in the family, just like it seems like Jada is the one who wears the pants in the family. Now, I know with this generation, they like to blur the lines, but I'm from the old school. I'm from common sense. I'm from the Bible. And if I'm going to go by a Bible, I'm going to go by it. And just doing that, you basically, well, he said he was biting her butt. I see it as kissing her butt too. And then when you get to the last photo of his son/daughter, that really takes it to another level for me. You cannot possibly tell me as a man, that you would be proud, so proud of your son, Magic Johnson also, you'd be so proud of your son that they want to do a sex change. They want to alter their looks. They want to become a woman. You cannot tell me you are innately proud, okay? You can love your son. Love your son. Okay, even if they want to change their sex, okay, that's on them. That's on them. Once they become of age, this child is not of age. You have coerced, cajoled your child into a sex change. Okay, as simple as that. Instead of taking control of the situation, it's like whatever goes, whatever they want. But the thing is, They live in your house. But you act like you have no control. And just like Will and Jay, the same thing. You act like you have no control over minors because they're still minors. The way of the world. That's how we going, the ways of the world. Enough said. Next one.
In it, and who will it help? Now look, this is $10,000 of student debt relief if you didn't receive Pell Grants and you're earning less than $125,000 a year. If you went to college and you received Pell Grants, right, these are low-income students, it's $20,000, trying to address inequality here in this relief. The forgiveness applies only if you're earning less than $125,000, and the student loan pause that has been since the pandemic, that will be done at the end of December. So January 1st, if you have student loans, you're going to have to start making those payments here again. So this is going to affect something like 20 million people will now have a zero balance on their student loans. 20 million people, 43 million people overall qualify in some way for all of this.
Yeah, a huge percentage of people who hold student debt have $20,000 or less.
That's right. And so immediately this is breathing space in the budget for those people.
And when you talk about Pell Grants, again, people who have Pell Grants, everyone who has a Pell Grant knows they have a Pell Grant. Yeah. First of all, people who don't may not know what it is, but it helps lower income people specifically pay for college roughly $60,000 or less, correct?
Yes, that's absolutely right. So that's trying to address the fact that a lot of people with student loan debt are middle-class Americans, right? And so you want to make sure that you're helping people on the lower end of the income ladder, too.
Okay, who doesn't this help?
Well, this doesn't help anybody who went to a state school and paid for all of it, anybody who paid off all of their student loan debt, or, as many people have criticized, people who couldn't afford to go to college in the first place and didn't and chose a different path. And there are some who are saying that's taxpayers basically subsidizing people who are rich enough to go to college in the first place. You know, Mitch McConnell made this point. He called it student loan socialism. And you've heard from some Republicans and a few Democrats that it's just not fair, a slap in the face to every family who sacrificed to save for college, every graduate who paid their debt, and every American who chose a certain career path or volunteered to serve in our armed forces in order to avoid taking on debt. The policy is astonishingly unfair. That's what Mitch McConnell says. There are others who've criticized it, saying it will be inflationary. Goldman Sachs out with a big report this morning. A lot of other economists saying in the long term, it might be a little bit or maybe a wash. Remember, Joe Biden made this promise before inflation was a real problem. There is something to be said for starting those student loan payments again in January. That'll take a little money out of people's budgets. That could be counter-inflationary. We'll have to wait and see. The most important thing about this was getting some of that debt off the books of young people who are being held back by it.
And if we get, for one moment, there's a ton of student debt out there. Student debt is the second highest amount of debt after mortgages, correct?
That's right. And you know why? It's because it costs so much to go to college. This does not address the root of the problem. And this is a very big problem in the American economy. We have just now forgiven a whole bunch of student loan debt, which is going to help people get some breathing space, as I said, in their budgets. But the winners are the colleges that just keep raising tuition again and again and again. You know, we know the value of a college degree is so important. We know you make so much more money over the course of your working lifetime if you have a college degree. We push for kids to get college degrees if it's appropriate for them. And we allow them to take on sometimes debt that it would be almost physically impossible to pay back, especially people who go on to graduate school.
This doesn't do anything to get the colleges to figure out their problem with this exploding tuition cost. I understand. I read this morning that the website for the federal loans, it broke down because so many people were checking. Is it clear yet how people find out how they get this money or get forgiven for this money?
So even young people around here are signing up for these alerts from the Department of Education so that they can find out, get any update about when this is going to happen. They're going to have to roll out some kind of a portal soon. They're telling people to go talk to your loan servicer. Find out, do you have private loans? Do you have public loans or, federal loans? Figure out what your loan package looks like so you can see what needs to be forgiven and where you are. But you need to really be aware that you're going to start paying payments again in January after several years of not paying any payments. That's something that people need to start getting set up.
Okay, now that's great that a lot of people, well, like I said, millions of people are going to get relief from school debts. Now that's great news, and as I said, it's going to help out a lot of people. But what really gets me is that you have politicians, mainly conservatives, Republicans, who say it's not fair. Really? Really? What's not fair about that? When you yourselves, be it the politicians, get all kinds of incentives, all kinds of tax breaks. You make up laws, and many times you'll come up with laws. I'm talking Republicans and Democrats. You come up with laws that you scurry under a rug like it's some magic trick to outwit the public. But then you cry nay when you want to simply oppose who is ever opposite of you in the aisle. In this situation, it's Biden. So, really, one is always trying to outdo the other. And we the people are pawns in this game of one-upsmanship. Really, that's what it boils down to. But in this situation, and that's the thing, these guys hate to give praise to one another, so they have to find ways to put down one another. Again, and we're the pawns in their little game. But it's really a shame. Politics has gotten worse over the years, with the shaming, the name calling, the one-upsmanship. But now check out this picture. Now, again, Republicans, they're crying foul. But this picture right here, this picture I'm about to show you, will say, why are you crying foul when the same was done to you? Okay, you see that? Now, these are Republicans who had their student loan debts canceled, wiped clean, didn't have to pay it back. Now, you can go back and look at the faces, look how much they owed, pause it, and look how much they owed. But yet these are the same people who are crying foul that it's not right, that these Americans should be paying those loans back. See, this is the hypocrisy that goes on with politicians. Again, be it Republican or Democrat. Now, in this case, it just happens to be that Republicans are being caught with their hands in the cookie jar of hypocrisy. And it's just wrong. And it's amazing how all these guys and men and women who will oppose something that seems right for the public, but because they want to go into opposition of their opponents or the other party, then they scream foul or vote no or whatever. But like I said, go back, check out those faces, check out how much they owed, and that is money that they did not have to pay back. That's all I got on that. Enough said.